sold into slavery, chained to each other as they made it through the Middle Passage, raped, whipped, lynched, physically abused, colonized, Jim Crowed, water hosed, and dogs set upon as they fought for their civil rights. My ancestors are calling me. They ask me if they have no mercy. Do I not see the plight of Africa? Do I not see the connection I have to all of her children scattered around the world? They are calling me to remember the 11 million brought to the Americas. Our blood, sweat, and tears built the wealth that formed these new nations. Wealth squandered, used to oppress, and so till today still denies so many of our people a decent life. My ancestors are calling me. They ask me, why do you tolerate this? Tolerate this, I ask? Yes, you tolerate your own genocide. How, I ask? Because you do nothing to solve the long-term ramifications of our collective history. You watch as Western institutions speak big words, but do little to help change the future of Africa, where Western institutions are imposed and inflict and conflict with an African way of life. You watch as leaders, puppets, murderers in Africa and around the world steal the people's wealth and squander it on foolish things, where poverty is rampant and the majority strives to survive on less than $1 a day. A continent with the richest resources reduced to the poorest countries in the world, where people starve for lack of food, water, sanitation, and healthcare. Africa, where 1 in 13 mothers die in childbirth, where so many children never see the age of 5. A continent that was said by 2015 would be the only region where the number of poor people would be higher than it was in 1990. And Africa will then account for half of the poor people in the developing world. Do not our children deserve an education? Do our children not deserve peace? Do our children not deserve a future that is brighter than the one you are creating for them now? Why have you not helped? You have the mind, you have the resources, you must now have the will. I heard my ancestors calling me and I answered with this call. That was a piece written by Sister Cecile Johnson. I am so thrilled to be able to talk a little bit about my experience of learning of the work of Queen Meshaki and the Honorable Silas Muhammad. When I was a little girl, I knew that there was something special about us. I knew somehow by my spirit, I knew that there was something special within. And as I began to grow, I was exposed to great warriors and great giants in my own community. I did not have to look elsewhere. They were there. They were right there. Nana Pastor Robert L. Lowe Sr., standing on the wall for social change, standing up for what is just and right. My own grandmother, Annie Bell Jones, an advocate, a human rights union organizer and defender. Dr. Vivian R. Jones, the founder of ABJ Community Services in the great city of Chicago, Illinois, and so many more. And the day came that I was blessed with the pleasure to meet the Honorable Silas Muhammad and Queen Meshaki. And I was so inspired and so excited about their work, the work of building a nation that I knew could exist, but I never knew that there were people out there working on our behalf. And so to learn of their journey and the things that they did to create the change that we need for ourselves today, and more importantly, for our children, what a true blessing. And to be able to talk to the Honorable Silas Muhammad and say, what would you have us to do? And he said, Pastor Victoria, get the leaders together, lock them in a room, lock them in a room for 9 days and nobody come out until we solve our issues and we come to some agreement. And so thus we are here today. Such a pleasure, such a divine pleasure. And I would like to now present to you a piece written by Brother Ajani that addresses the stuff between us. The stuff between us. The stuff between us at one time used to be so sweet. We were a people who loved our heritage, our families, our friends, our nation. We were the epitome of life on the earth. The stuff between us was pure and true, but then something happened. Someone new to the earth started telling lies and causing trouble amongst the righteous. They drove us apart. They changed the stuff that held us together into the stuff that drives us apart. Yes, they, our open enemy, thrive on our separation and our disunity. But you just wait. We are going to come together. They keep riffraff going between us currently. They say this one did this and that one did that, quite often pointing to our differences. Many times I have heard in disagreements that the thing or the stuff that comes between us in our quest for unity is a wedge. Oh, but what a twist when you see that the stuff between us in the village is in our nation. And it is like mortar, like bricks between, like mortar between bricks. When we turn on the stuff that is between us and turn them from stuff to wedges to mortar, we are on our way to self-determination. You wait until we get it together. We are going to be something to reckon with. We will rise to the top of the world again. We will take our rightful place at the helm of humanity. We will change the world. All the talk of a new world order in reality lies in the hands of Black men and Black women, us, my fellow countrymen and countrywomen. Something between us. I hope it isn't a wedge, but rather mortar, the glue that binds us together. But we have a decision to make. Do we want to be wedged apart or cemented together like two bricks with mortar in between? Glued together and headed for our destiny, headed for happiness, headed for sovereignty. When we get rid of the stuff between us. Leaders, this is a call for you to unite. When you leaders decide to unite, your people will follow suit. Leaders, this is a call for you. We have the opportunity in this generation to answer the call of our ancestors and leave something for our children. But we need our leaders to unite, and your people will follow suit. We must unite or we will surely die. But we're not calling death. We're calling life, because the power of life is in the tongue. The power of life and death is in the power of the tongue. And I choose to speak life as we get rid of the stuff between us. I saw it. I saw it, y'all. I saw it on the continent of Africa, in South Africa, in Johannesburg. I saw it. I saw a special door, the door. And on the door, it said, the right to cultural, religious, and linguistic community life. The right to cultural, religious, and linguistic community life. I saw it. So as we go from disunity and move into unity, Afrodescendants ascending, evolving into greatness together, collectively, I know that we can rise. And I now complete my readings of today with a special song that really identifies the term Afrodescendants. It helps you to understand Afrodescendants, the definition, but we will do it through song. It is my pleasure to present a musical version of Afrodescendants. If you were forcibly dispossessed of your homeland, Africa, transported to the Americas in slavery diaspora for the purpose of enslavement, then you might see you're an Afro-descendant. Oh, yeah, yeah. And if you were subjected to slavery, subjected to forced mixed breeding, and rape. And if you have experienced through forced loss of mother tongue, lost culture and religion, and if you have experienced racial discrimination due to lost ties or partially lost ties from your original identity, you might see you're an Afro-descendant. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Afro-descendants are experiencing ethnogenesis, the reestablishment of the mind, or the resurrection of a people who lost the identity of self due to 400 years of slavery. Oh, if you see yourself in this song, it's time to join forces, come together as one. For you and I, we just might be Afro-descendants. Oh, it's time. Rise, Afro-descendants. Time to rise. And I'd like to dedicate today's performance to the Honorable Silas Muhammad, Queen Mishaki, and the many, many others here today, and those that have come before to see to the rise of Afro-descendants. Thank you, President Akila Mukarram. Thank you, Dr. Bronner, Honorable Silas Muhammad, Queen Mishaki, and all of the committee that put this great event together. I am Pastor Nana Victoria Carol Brady, and I stand for what is just, true, and right for our people. Shalom, peace and blessings.
Wow. Let's give Pastor Nana Victoria Carol Brady a big round of applause for her magnificent performance. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you all for being here with us this morning, afternoon, evening, and night, wherever you may reside. Welcome to the Afrodescendant Nation Self-Determination Summit 2022, the first of more to come as we Afro-descendants seek to become a self-determining people as other civilized people of the world do. I am Dr. Akila Mukaram, President of the Afrodescendant Nation. I would like to recognize and welcome our monarch, Queen Mashaki Muhammad, and the Honorable Silas Muhammad, the man who is responsible for causing such an event. Welcome to our esteemed speakers and guests on the panel, whom you will hear from soon during this roundtable discussion. And welcome to you, our viewing audience. Thank you for being here with us today. It is a pleasure and honor to serve as moderator of this historical event, the Afrodescendant Nation Self-Determination Summit. Speakers, you will have 3 to 5 minutes to speak on each topic. Please be mindful and adhere to the time. Invited panel guests, you may come in and ask questions during the 15-minute Q&A after all panelist speakers have spoken on the topic. The Honorable Silas Muhammad will speak on all 3 topics after topic number 3, Q&A. Etiquette in this virtual space. Please be respectful of self and others. Listen for understanding. Be humble. There are 2 sides to every story, and please seek the positive. Ensure that every voice is heard. This is our safe space. If you step away for a few minutes, be sure to turn your camera off until you return. Keep your mic muted until it is your turn to speak. Thank you. We will now begin with our first topic. Speakers, please give a brief introduction of yourselves and then proceed to answer the question of this topic when I call your name. We will begin with Dr. Brooks Robinson. With Dr. Robinson, he will speak on the topic of what does self-determination look like for you, Afro-descendants, for descendants of what does self-determination look like to you for descendants of enslaved Africans?
Thank you very much for that introduction to the topic, this first topic. I'm Dr. Brooks Robinson, founder and co-contributor to blackeconomics.org, which is an internet portal that features vigorous analyses of Black economic concepts, issues, policies, and plans. To the Most Honorable Silas Muhammad, Queen Muhammad, President Dr. Mukarram, who just brought me on, Pastor Brady, who delivered an excellent introduction, Dr. Broner, the producer of this summit, and even to Bevan, our engineer. And I should not forget to also recognize all of the distinguished panelists for this Afro-Descendant Nation Self-Determination Summit. It's obviously a great pleasure and honor to be here, and I'm excited to have been invited to participate. I'll try to be as brief as I can be on this topic. Now, let's start by saying, in the field of scientific inquiry, probably the most important question is why. Accordingly, before we turn to the question that has been posed, how self-determination should appear to us, we should possibly ensure that everyone is clear on selected critical reasons why Afro-descendants should be motivated to